Well, Donald Trump is back on Capitol Hill today. It is the first time in years, with his last visit taking place before the January 6th insurrection in 2021.
Now, the former president is meeting with House and Senate Republicans as the party's presumptive nominee. Trump will seek to unite GOP lawmakers behind his policies and political agenda as the party turns its attention toward the November election and a potential return for him to the White House. Today's meetings are also, though, bringing him face to face with some of his one-time critics within the Republican Party.
Leading that list is Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell. You may recall he denounced Trump after the insurrection, calling him, quote, practically and morally responsible. But this week, McConnell reiterated his stance on supporting whoever the Republican nominee is, even if it is the former president.
CBS News congressional correspondent Scott MacFarlane is on Capitol Hill with more on this. Scott, it's a remarkable moment for Trump to return to a place where he is believed to be the guy behind the January 6th insurrection. So much violence and damage. But what do we expect to hear from him in his remarks today, and what type of reception do we expect he's receiving?
It really is a seminal moment, Errol, not only because it's his first trip to Capitol Hill post-January 6th, but in the room this morning when he met with House Republicans, and again this afternoon when he meets with Senate Republicans, will be Republicans who voted to impeach or convict him for his role in the January 6th attack. So they're trying to expand the tent for Donald Trump here and bring more Republicans into the fold or back into the fold. From our sources in the room this morning, when he met with House Republicans, a lot of the conversation, a lot of his discussion was focused on campaign-related matters, trying to expand the states that may be in play into states that President Biden won in 2020, talking about poll numbers, about campaign messaging. Not to be a surprise for anybody, because he's actually meeting with these Republicans in their campaign headquarters off the Capitol grounds itself. We also know that the former President Trump is trying to have a show of unity, a show of support today by having Republicans as much courting him as he would be courting them as we get closer to the first debate and closer to the Republican National Convention.
Well, we hear that there are some people, at least there on Capitol Hill, that are very passionate about the politics. Scott, I have to say, I thought it was very interesting your reporting on these new restitution reporting on restitution payments that were being made by January 6 offenders. What has CBS News and you in particular learned about this?
Yeah, January 6 didn't just damage democracy; it actually damaged the Capitol itself. An estimated $3 million in immediate costs for the restoration, the repairs, the injury treatments for police officers. Our CBS News investigation over the course of the last few months finds the January 6 defendants, 1,000 plus of them, have only paid off 15% or so of the restitution payments ordered by the court to offset the cost of all the damage they did. It has been sluggish, and so much of what the cost has been from January 6th remains in the shoulders of federal taxpayers. There's several reasons for that, but one of which is that judges have been a little bit lenient with allowing these defendants to pay back what they owe, giving some monthly installment payments as low as $250 a month. And of course, many of these defendants are in prison. Sometimes federal prisoners like to pay off their restitution early. Some of these defendants have chosen not to, and it's not lost on anybody here that Donald Trump is visiting Capitol Hill 5 months before an election in which he's making January 6th an issue.
All right, Scott MacFarlane, stay close. We'll get updates from you throughout the day. Thank you.